follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Top of the morning to you. It is Follow the Money. Live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. We spent the entire first hour talking about Week 18 and the opening numbers, current numbers, wildcard weekend in the NFL. If you want to go back and listen to it later on today when it's posted, you can find Follow the Money, the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts when you just search the name of this show. Again, Follow the Money. We do have a national title game tonight, Pauly. It's Washington against Michigan in Houston. We'll go live to Houston, by the way, in 90 minutes. Pat Forty will join us. He's at the game tonight. This number got to Michigan 5.5 over the weekend, back down to 5 at some spots, some 4.5s out there. Total on the uptick to 56.5 or 57. Have you done anything with the game yet?
I got futures on Michigan, but I'm rooting for Washington in the Pac-12. So if I lose, so be it. Pac-12 hasn't won a title since 2004. Washington hasn't won a title since 91. 14-0 against 14-0. This is great. And a great matchup with DeBoer against Harbaugh. And this offense is so good with Washington. It's going to be a great matchup in terms of the physicality of Michigan, but also Michigan has not seen an offense or quarterback like this. No way, no how. And Penix to be the best quarterback in college football or second best, and the best offensive line in college football. They allowed 11 sacks in 14 games, and these wide receivers are sick. As Jeff Schwartz tweeted, they're not 50-50 balls with these guys. It's more like 80-20, 90-10, how good they are in coverage and the plays that they make. So does Corum go off? Is it just punish them on the ground? There's nothing you can do about it? I don't know. But certainly there's been some money coming in on Michigan here. Now we're getting up to 5. But this is phenomenal here with this matchup. And how do you go against DeBoer when he's a dog? And as I talked about Friday, here's the team in the best conference that's undefeated, and they're underdogs, and every week they can play the no respect card.
Yeah, a little bit more here now on the schedule breakdown between these two teams. Michigan, their SOS, it was outside of the top 40. Washington was top 10 overall SOS. Michigan, offensively, faced teams on average ranked 60th or worst. So they were not even in the top 60 in terms of overall offensive SOS. They did take on 2 top 15 offenses, Ohio State and Alabama. They faced 4 offenses ranked in the top 50, Maryland and Penn State. Against the top 15 offenses, they allowed 22 points against Ohio State and Alabama per game. Against top 4, the teams that they played, they averaged 20.5 points per game. Washington, their offense ranked 6th overall. Defensively, Michigan played a very tough schedule. Second toughest SOS defensive strength of schedule overall. Ohio State, Nebraska, Penn State, Maryland, Iowa, Alabama. And against those teams, Michigan averaged almost 31 points per game. On the flip side, Washington faced the third-ranked offensive SOS. They faced 5 different teams in 6 games because they played Oregon twice that ranked in the top 25 of offense. In those games, they allowed 30 points per game. Michigan's offense is top 20. And when you flip it a little bit more and go down into Michigan's schedule, the 10 offenses that they faced passing the ball, they were 78th in passing yards per game. 6 of their passing offenses that they faced ranked outside the top 100. And 2 offenses that ranked in the top 30, Maryland and Ohio State. Washington is number 1 overall. And the gap between number 1 and number 21 is the same as the gap between number 21 and number 88 overall in the country. So to your point, this is a totally different animal. They've done good against other decent offenses, but nothing like Washington here.
Oh, no. I mean, like you said, Ohio State, and it's night and day with McCord.
The kid had the transfer.
Yeah, right, to Penix, and they gave up 24 points at home in that game. Penn State, please. I mean, that kid can't play, the quarterback for Penn State. So it's certainly Bama. Milroe was inconsistent, but Bama's, it was good and bad in the Rose Bowl too. But the other thing is they find ways to win here. This is 10 games in a row. Washington has won by 10 points or fewer. So they're in all these close games, and they find a way to get it done as well. High scoring, low scoring, will beat you any which way possible. And they're going to get Johnson back too, which is a big shot in the arm because it did not look good when he left the game with less than a minute against Texas. So maybe you want to take the points. I know it could be like a Super Bowl type game. Grab the points and take Michigan money line, which is going to come down. You might even be able to get $1.80 on that and try to middle it and win both bets. But this is phenomenal here with what the Boer has done when he's a dog. That he wins all these games, and 104-11. That's his coaching record, going back to Sioux Falls, 104-11. So I love the confidence that they're playing with, and especially these wide receivers, and the game that Grubb's calling. I mean, I know he caught a lot of heat there with the fan base with some of the decisions he made, but they're dialed in with the staff and also with the players, and I love that they can play this. Oh, underdogs again, huh? Okay.
Well, I can't get over how badly the market has been wrong and off against Washington because when you really think about it, I mean, a month ago, they were playing out here in Las Vegas on a neutral, and they were catching 10 against Oregon, catching 10. And now Michigan's laying 4.5 or 5. That seems odd. Like, how was Oregon 10 on a neutral against Washington, but Michigan's only 4.5 or 5? On the flip side, and we were saying that the entire week, Oregon's laying 10. In what world should they be laying 10 points? But everybody just assumed, right, that Oregon was the better team the first time they played. And they were. I was at that game. Oregon was the better team and they lost. Lanning made some, I think, regrettable decisions in that contest. But also, like, moving forward into the second time around, like, everybody was just assuming that Oregon was going to beat Washington up on the ground game, that they were better on the offensive line, they were going to control the front of Washington, and that Oregon's defense was physical and can be able to slow down. It was the exact opposite. The exact opposite happened the second time that they played. And then they play Texas. Again, somehow, some way, the team's an underdog. Texas playing in the Big 12. Kind of a crappy conference. Pac-12 was awesome this year. Money came out in Washington, but why was Texas favored in the game?
Right.
And they lost, and I thought Washington was much, much better in that game and should have won by more points than what they did. And now you get to this spot where it's 4.5. 4.5 or 5, I should say. And
I would think you come out running if you're Michigan.
I think you have
because how bad was McCarthy in the Rose Bowl and their offense?
Right.
I mean, until that final drive, I thought there was no way they were going to go down the field against Alabama.
Well, that's the thing. To my point about Oregon, everybody was making the case they're just going to control the lines of scrimmage and then like run the ball if they want. The same thing's being said about Michigan the entire week leading into this game.
So since he became the head coach of Washington, every time he's been a dog, he's won. And he's played a ranked team 9 times. He's 9-0. This guy's unbelievable. So if he can close it. And have you looked at any of the props?
Oh, I got some.
There's some great stuff here. Corum is minus 450 to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
He's $5 at DraftKings to have the most rushing yards tonight. Will Penix have more passing yards than McCarthy? He's $6. More passing yards. Paul Stone gave out McCarthy rushing yards over. He gave out the tight end for Washington over receiving. Will Penix throw an interception? Yes. No. No is plus 180. 6 times he didn't do it.
Wow.
I've seen as high as 240 to throw an interception. Yes, 240. And then Odunze is 89.5 receiving. McMillan's 59.5.
I think Odunze came down. I think he was mid-90s.
Right. Corum is 101.5 for rushing. But that wasn't a lot of time off. But unfortunately, sometimes you get weird matchups. And I know you were concerned because I think it's the last 2 times it was 14-0 against 14-0 was a bloodbath.
Right.
And then, I guess you throw out what happened last year because it was TCU, I guess.
Sure.
But still, that was unfortunate for everyone. It was over in the first quarter.
Let me throw some more props at you.
Yeah.
So because of Washington's, results this year, playing all these close games and winning them, how about this market for the margin of victory? Washington to win between 1 and 6 points is plus 515. I know if you're going to bet Washington to win, I would just say take the money line and be happy with plus 175. But if you want to get cute, they're plus 515 there. To win between 7 and 13, they're plus 825. Do you think Washington will beat Michigan by more than 14 points?
No.
Neither do I.
I love largest lead under 17.5.
Okay, because I would eliminate that one if you wanted to bet.
Yep.
Also, on the flip side, Michigan between 1 and 5 is plus 440, 6 to 10 plus 485. You can go. Do you think Michigan can blow out Washington? They're 17 plus points is plus 375.
Okay, I was going to say your definitional blowout, but that's okay.
I think if we get a blowout tonight, it would be Michigan blowing out Washington.
Yeah.
I don't think Washington would blow out Michigan.
I would look at Corum MVP. I think you can get 4-1, 3-1 on that.
I would also,
as opposed to McCarthy. I think Corum would be the reason they win.
I don't hate him to be the first touchdown scorer. I don't hate him to score 2 touchdowns in this game.
2 and 3. That's available.
Right. You can bet 2+ on him.
Yep.
That's a decent number. He's going to be the guy that they're going to give the rock to, certainly. And I think when Paul Stone pointed out Westover's been a key guy to the offense here, the tight end for Washington. I think that's a good find by him to bet his receiving yards over in the contest tonight.
Doesn't that seem high? 17.5, largest lead?
Yeah, it seems like a big number.
With a spread like
this?
Does, yeah. Someone's going to be up 3 touchdowns?
Over 50, and I know people are making the case for the over. 57 for a total. We need 8 touchdowns plus.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if Michigan gets a lead, don't they want to just 5 yards and then run it down to 3 seconds on the play clock every single snap? Why would they want the ball to get back into Penix's hands?
Washington has a 7-minute drive. They go for it, 4th and goal, whatever. Don't get it.
Uh-huh.
Michigan pin, 8-minute drive the other way. You're cooked.
Yeah. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We will get into the NFL coming up next, recap what took place yesterday, and move forward by looking at some of these numbers that we have for Wild Card Weekend next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get unlimited access to our VSiN.com/picks page. For more VSiN Pro picks, become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. And everyone had to give out a pick or prop for the game tonight. I went largest lead under 17.5 and use the code Follow the Money. You get 10% off the annual subscription. Use promo code FTM or Follow the Money. Get up there, become part of the team. Good luck.
I take that back about Blake Corum. 2+ touchdowns. I think the number came down a little bit. He's now plus 105 to score 2+ touchdowns.
Do you have 3 there?
I do.
What's that?
3 touchdowns or more for Blake Corum. Plus 290.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Santa Maria.
Completely unbettable.
Yeah.
Roma Dunze is 19-1. You think J.J. McCarthy can take off near the end zone? Will they call a pass play once they get inside, let's say, the 5-10 yard line, and he'll take off, maybe score? He's plus 330 to score a touchdown tonight. Because you figure once they get close, it's going to be...
He's 550 here.
He's down.
Oh, that came down too?
Came down, yeah.
Oh, that came down. Are you using Circa or DK here?
Circa.
Okay.
Circa's, he's down, so he opened up plus 550 down to plus 330 now. So evidently people
I get on board with that one. Yeah.
Okay, so looking ahead now, and yesterday I thought was so incredible, especially the final window of games for Week 18 and everything that was up in the air. Obviously with the Cowboys struggling early out of the gates against the Commanders, but it didn't even matter because the Eagles were so bad yet again, and then A.J. Brown goes down. That did not look great, by the way. He's immediately holding his leg. Devontae Smith couldn't play in the game because he was hurt, and you have this defense now that is... Honestly, the numbers don't lie here. Last 5 to 6 weeks, they're rock bottom right now with this defense in Philadelphia. And so you had all that going on. You had the Rams against the 49ers turn out to be a dogfight, and that only determined who was going to play either Dallas or Detroit in the opening round, and the Rams came back to win that game. Carson Wentz, tip of the cap, man. Yep. Gave it the old college try, and it worked. And he looked good, and he was... out there looked like he was fighting for another starting job at some point down the line, is what it looked like he was playing for. And so as a result, they're now going to get the Sunday night game in Detroit. That's going to be Stafford against McVay, and McVay against Goff, I should say. So former player on Detroit, quarterback of the Rams. Same thing with Stafford. And then Detroit is down to a 3-point favorite in that game, and the Cowboys get the Packers, and now Dallas is a 7.5-point favorite.
Dan does a lot of dumb stuff. He did a great job with Detroit this year and win the division and to be in this position. And we know they got robbed last Saturday. I can't believe he was throwing the ball with a minute left as well in that game. But it's you can't. The Laporta injury, I mean, it's hard to figure out, and it's the bad luck. A.J. Brown got hurt. They have to try to get the 2 seed. Detroit's trying to get the 2 seed. You saw what happened to T.J. Watt. It's a great matchup, and I'm sure the league's loving it, and should be a shootout. Your comments about Philly, it's the worst defense in the league right now. And to be down 24-0 at halftime against the Giants, they took it easy on them in the second half. You give up 27 to the Giants, 35 at home to Arizona, and you're playing for the division, 25 to the Giants on Christmas. Drew Lock scored 20 on you, and you couldn't stop him with the game-winning drive. He went 90 yards. 33 to Dallas, 42 against San Francisco, 34 at home to Buffalo. And the body language and locker room issues, it's bad. And I know Sirianni was saying all the right things afterwards, but I think we found out what they're made of here. I mean, this team should have won the Super Bowl last year. And now to start 10-1, and you can't even get to 12 wins? A lot of people shocked they're favored. Tampa comes limping in, at least literally with what's going on with Mayfield. But they can't get – I would think Evans and Godwin are going to be able to go off here if they're able to protect Mayfield. I don't see why not. It's ugly. I can't believe what transpired the last 2 months from Philadelphia.
Yeah. Why is it going to flip on Monday night?
Oh, it won't.
Like what exactly?
You can't flip. This is who you are now.
Right.
I mean, the body language and that's how bad you move out to Cy and you put in Patricia. I mean, nothing has worked here. And Hurts is hurt and continues to turn the ball over as well. He's the NFC's Josh Allen.
You're telling me that if the Buccaneers lost the game yesterday and the Saints won that division, you're telling me the Eagles would be favored right now in New Orleans?
Oh, that's another one, right?
Really?
Yep, I know.
Are we completely out of our minds right now?
I mean,
Philadelphia would not go to New Orleans and win this weekend. And they should not be. They would not deserve to be favored in that game.
They've had no answer for Tyrod Taylor in 6 quarters.
Right.
And dumping it off to Barkley and Slayton. I mean, it's a joke. So I think it appears they're just ready to get onto the Cancun or the golf reservations. And it's tea times.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're capable of turning it around. And even if they win, which could happen, but still, what's your reward? Well, you go to San Francisco and you probably get embarrassed.
Yeah, lose by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and they beat you 42-19 in your place.
That's how the weekend ends. Super Wildcard weekend on Monday night. It begins Browns at the Texans on Saturday afternoon. Cleveland's laying 2.5. Total is 44. You have a future ticket on the Texans. You and a partner of yours. What are you going to do with this here?
I'm going to ask today how big of a dog I am if I go to Buffalo or Baltimore. Might have to, maybe both. Ticket pays almost $400,000. Can't believe it. What a job by Ryans. I'm with you. He changed my mind. He's got to be coach of the year. But this is a rematch, I have to throw out a little bit of what happened in the rematch because it wasn't Stroud, or the first meeting rather. But that was the game where Cooper went nuts for over 200 yards and Flacco fever here and what they've done offensively. But worst defense in the league, points per game on road games for Cleveland. But as you said, though, it's like shame on Indianapolis. He's throwing to 2 guys. It's Schultz and Collins. You got to make an adjustment here. But Stroud has been an amazing year, and I'm totally shocked by what's happened here. But does Flacco turn it over? That's the other thing. Most turnovers this year. 37. And does that come back to bite him at some point? It almost did against Chicago. But Flacco's good for a couple touchdowns, but he's also good for a couple turnovers, too. Great game.
Now, remember, Houston was favored in that game when it opened. I think, if I recall correctly here, the thought was Stroud was going to be able to come back and play in this game because it was the second week.
And it went to 3, right? Didn't go to 3?
It went to Cleveland -3. I think it maybe even touched 3.5 at some spots. In that game, Flacco had 368 yards passing, the 3 scores, but also 2 INTs, and that was a combo game of Davis Mills and Case Keenum. Mills was 15 of 32 for 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Keenum was yanked 11 of 17, 62 yards, and 2 INTs. I mean, rest assured, there needs to be a pretty significant upgrade between the combination of those 2 quarterbacks and C.J. Stroud, who's playing this week.
I think they'll do a much better job defensively after what happened in the first meeting. And this opened 1.5, and the Browns taking money. The public's in love with them, and I don't blame them. Also, you saw a big move this weekend on Hamlin for comeback player of the year.
Yeah,
could have been everyone was hedgy, but it's got the highest $4 now.
Right. That was what I was going to say. People reached out and asked me what's going on here. I'm like, that's exactly what might be taking place. People who had some maybe big ticket numbers on Joe Flacco coming back. He was inactive again yesterday. Hamlin.
I know.
Didn't play in the game.
2 tackles the whole game. Peter King says I still have to give it to him. But,
well, he said that from the get-go.
Yeah.
He said one snap, he's getting the award.
Well, you're really putting it to the test, though. I mean, he didn't do anything this year. He got on the field, not much. Yeah. And when he was on the field, he didn't make an impact.
Yeah, now the Bills, because of what happened last night, and they won the game, they're laying 9.5. This total has dropped from 41.5 last night to 38.5, and we are going to potentially get some significant wins. It looks like it's going to be 50-mile-an-hour winds, at least on Saturday night, maybe early Sunday morning, with a chance of that to continue around game time. If not, we're still talking around like 30-mile-an-hour winds.
They had to probably keep the Steelers in the game. It could be reminiscent of the Monday night game years ago when they played the Patriots. Allen, 18 interceptions. The turnovers won't stop. The drops won't stop either. And now Gabe Davis got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They closed 6-1, but very inconsistent offense here. And it was more of the rushing attack, too. So, yeah, Cook dropped a touchdown and the fiasco before halftime and the Allen interceptions. But you just see it's night and day with how bad the Steelers are when Watt isn't on the field. And they're not going to have Watt. So the other thing, can Rudolph keep this up? And I don't think they'll be able to run the ball like they have. Now, it's been great what they're doing here with Harris. But I don't think they'll be able to do this against Buffalo.
I would agree.
Then they were really spooked by the elements in the weather. They were way too conservative in that game Saturday. And will the same thing happen because they won't take shots down the field? And maybe does Pickens lose his mind too because he doesn't get targets?
Well, if we find out that we're going to have 50-mile-an-hour winds,
well, forget it
for the game. I mean, this total is going to absolutely plummet.
Yeah.
But of course, if you bet that under right now, like people did last night, and maybe 41.5 was too big of a number anyway. But if you continue to bet that, and all of a sudden, not going to be as windy as we thought, then you're going to be stuck with a ticket that could be not looking too pretty. But again, if that is true, then this where does this total go? 31?
Perhaps.
It's going to go to the low 30s for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Josh Appelbaum is going to join the program coming up next. VSiN sports betting analyst. We'll talk to him about the national title game and anything that he likes early on in the wild card round of the playoffs next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. We're going to connect with VSiN sports betting analyst Josh Appelbaum coming up here in a few moments. Before we do, the breaking news that we have in the NFL. Bill Belichick said today in his press conference that he would be willing or open to relinquishing personnel control if that collectively was viewed to help the team. So I believe that he's going to be meeting with Robert Kraft here a little bit later on today.
That's enormous. Also, if he stays, that needs to happen. 24 players drafted in the first 3 rounds since 2014. 0 have got a second contract.
That's terrible. New GM in Carolina. They're going to Dave Tepper has fired GM Scott Fitterer. They're going to go in a different direction. Bob Myers, former Warriors GM, and former Vikings GM Rick Spielman will get together with Commanders owner Josh Harris to search for a new head coach and head of football operations.
That report came out over the weekend that Harris is intrigued by Belichick.
Okay, and then
Belichick is 72 in April. He has 333 wins. Shula's got 347.
Right, and that obviously means that 10 minutes ago, Ron Rivera fired.
Yeah.
So it's kudos for him, or curtains for him, I should say. Kudos, the opposite.
Art Smith gone before Ron. How about that? Art Smith was fired at midnight.
All right, Josh Appelbaum now joins the program. So knowing all that and looking forward here to Wild Card Weekend, Josh, what are you looking at? What is your advice for betting the opening round of the playoffs?
Yeah, Mitch and Pauly, great to be with you. Busy news day here in the sports world. I would give one recommendation when it comes to the NFL playoffs is don't be afraid to bet on some underdogs here, because if you look at the data historically, let's just go back the last few seasons here. If you look since 2017, postseason underdogs, starting with the wild card round, are 43-29 against the spread, 60%. Now, specifically in the wild card round, this is the best time to bet on dogs. They're 20-10 against the spread, 67% in that time frame. But I'm also going to focus on a way to approach it in terms of teasers. Now, teasers, obviously popular bet here with the public. Wise guys approach them a little differently. They're really aiming to go through key numbers, multiple key numbers. That's always the goal. Go through 3, go through 7. And if you actually look at the playing dogs, just taking the points, it's great. It's 60% ATS. But if you tease these dogs 6 points, they're covering 74% of the time, 53-19 against the spread here. So looking through all the games here that really are jumping out to me, one would be the Houston Texans. Right now, the Houston Texans at home against the Cleveland Browns. This line was around an opener of -2 Cleveland. You're up to 2.5. It may even get to 3. If you do like Houston just in terms of the spread, you can wait and get a 3. I think it's a great opportunity to tease Houston up 2.5, up to 8.5, go through 3, go through 7. Right now, Houston is one of your top contrarian plays of the wild card weekend. They're only getting 26% of bets. And then if you're looking for a dance partner here, Tampa Bay is jumping out to me. They're at home against Philly on that Monday night game. Currently only 40% of bets are taking Tampa Bay in the points. And we've pretty much seen this line remain frozen. Open around -2.5 Philly, pretty much stayed 2.5 Philly. If you could take Tampa Bay 2.5 up to 8.5, pair that with Houston 2.5 up to 8.5, that would match this system of looking at wild card dogs and in particular teasing through key numbers, as they've covered nearly 3 out of 4 times over the last 6-7 years.
Okay, yeah, very good, because that's exactly where I wanted to go this weekend too in the NFL, was taking a teaser or 2. I want to tease the Cowboys down, I think, but certainly Buccaneers and the Texans worth a look, in my opinion, as well. We do have a national title game to get into tonight as well. This number now got to 5.5 at a bunch of spots yesterday. Back down to 5 at some spots, 4.5 at others. Total going up the way it appears to 57 here. What do you make of Washington and Michigan?
Yeah, Mitch, this thing's been fascinating. Let's break it down from 2 different angles. I always like to start with the data, put my opinion to the side. What's the market doing? The market is moving toward Michigan. I think you got to respect that. If you like the Wolverines tonight, you are seeing this line move in your favor. The Wolverines opened at some Vegas shops as low as -3.5. We immediately saw them get bet up to -4.5. We pretty much sat 4.5 all throughout the week. But you mentioned something really important there, Mitch. Randomly, while we're watching NFL Week 18, some of these books late night got all the way up to Michigan -5.5. They got hit with a lot of buyback, bringing it back down to 5 or 4.5 right now. And it's a bit of a mini fade the trendy dog play. Like currently the bet splits are 46% bets Michigan, but 50% of the money Michigan. So if we're piecing together this puzzle, the lines move toward Michigan. They are a bit contrarian here. They are getting a little bit more money. Now they're not quite a fade the trendy dog play like against Alabama. They're only getting like 30-40% bets with that line move. But on the one hand, boom, you are seeing this line in the data kind of hint toward Michigan here. However, the one thing that it makes this a really difficult handicap is that this is the spot that Washington loves to be in. Washington as a dog. Washington under DeBoer, their head coach, are 5-0 not only ATS, but 5-0 straight up as a dog. We saw it happen last week against Texas. They're getting points. They had a late line move. They win that thing outright. They also match a couple betting systems here. If you look at bowl dogs, I know it's a championship game, but still consider it to be bowl season. Bowl dogs getting 3.5 points or more. They're 58% against the spread this postseason. They're 60% against the spread over the last 2 postseasons. And in the national championship in particular, since we switched to this format, you look at dogs in this game, they're 5-3 against the spread, 62%. And banking on Washington here, guys, they really match a system to me that I love, a dog that can score. If you're going to bet a spread sport like basketball or football and you're on a dog with the points, you want a dog that can put up points, can keep pace, can backdoor cover. We know Washington has a great offense here, averaging 39 points per game. And last time I talked to you guys on New Year's Day, I gave you that quote from Braylon Trice. They love being disrespected. They love the fact that no one believes in them and they play their best. And this is really a kind of a position that they like to be in here. And I liken it back to when the Ravens went to the 49ers and they were a dog and they knew they were a dog. So that's a big motivating factor. You also mentioned the total did rise 55 up to 56.5. So we have seen this line tick up a bit. I think it's a tough handicap. I think if you're playing Michigan, yes, you have this line move and you have a kind of decent low bets, higher dollars bet split, but you're also getting the worst of the number. guys, I've been looking toward Washington. I'm going to bank on them playing well as a dog. I'm on Washington in the points. I think if you can get a 5, that's going to be your best number.
All great points, absolutely. The us against the world mentality, and Washington continues to get it done as dogs. Great menu at DraftKings. Any props you like?
Yeah, Pauly, I got a prop for you. So I think going into this game, you're going to get so much attention on the star players, the McCarthys, the Corums, that great trio of wide receivers for Washington. When I'm betting props, I like to go down the list a little bit. I don't want to go to the main guys because oftentimes odds makers know they'll get bet, so their numbers are inflated oftentimes. I don't want to be on a huge public prop. So I went down the list a little bit, and I fell on Jack Westover, the big tight end from Washington. I bet him over the weekend, over 25.5 receiving yards. It was around minus 120, so it was juiced up a little bit. I like these random, like lower, lesser-known guys that get juiced up. Just tells me that that's a guy that was probably targeted by some wise guy money. He caught 6 passes for 59 yards against Texas last week. He's kind of a go-to guy in this offense when the wide receivers, the trio that's fantastic, Odunze, Polk, and McMillan, with so much attention paid to them, he can kind of fly under the radar a little bit and kind of get you a couple catches here. So I'm going to bank on him getting 26 yards or more. Westover, over 25.5 is my play.
Very good. You can get Josh's 2 podcasts wherever you listen to your podcast. One is called Market Insights, and the other one is called Morning Bets. Josh, thanks for the time as always today. Good luck tonight and this week.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
So there you go. Paul Stone also liked Westover last week. And if you want to get that number right now with Westover, I think you need to grab it as soon as possible because that number has moved to as high as 28.5 at some books. So he's moved up a good 4 yards, depending on where you're looking from last week.
I'm going to take Corum MVP 4-1. I'm going to do that. Yep, I'm going to go that direction.
I don't hate that bet at all.
I think that's going to be a big reason if they win, why they win. As opposed, I don't
him.
Trust McCarthy.
No, it could be like a 20 for $115, 2 touchdowns, controlled the clock, running game was great. I would not be surprised with that result at all.
Very scared what happened. I don't understand his performance in the Rose Bowl. First play of the game, what are you doing?
Oh, I know.
Would you fire Belichick?
I would not.
Okay.
I would not.
Would you? You said you would. He has to relinquish power.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Somebody else has to come in and...
You're evaluating talent, especially offensive. Horrible.
I also, if I'm him, think things are different. A lot of people don't like change. I'd be like, it's been real. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'd want to go... I think the Chargers would be an incredible landing spot for him.
Well,
I really do.
I would think Harbaugh's ahead of him on their list, though.
I think he is too, and I think if the Chargers want to get that done, it's got to be done like as soon as the game is over with tonight.
Does this bother you that Harbaugh appears to be out the door?
No, not at all. Not for 1 second.
No, it doesn't? Okay.
No. If he's gone, that's fine by me.
Oh, in terms of handicap in the game.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought you meant overall, like personally. No,
okay.
Because if it would have, I think it would have been like a distraction against Alabama potentially, and it never was. I mean, let's be honest here. They were lucky to win the game in the end. Yeah. But also they should have had a bigger lead in the first half.
That's right.
So
special teams could play a huge role too.
That's for sure.
It was fumbling the punt business. Both teams did. There were 3 fumbled punts combined with these 2 teams in the playoff games.
All right, let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Back to the NFL up next because it happened again this year. You can make it 19 of the last 21 seasons in the NFL. We'll tell you what happened yesterday. Coming up next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs even better. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the app now. Use code VEGAS. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code VEGAS for the $200. The crown is yours. Good luck.
Searching for other props for the national title game tonight. DraftKings is the book where you can find offensive MVP, and that's where that number on Blake Corum is 4-1. Let me flip it for a second here. What if Washington gets out to a lead and it's like, a 2-touchdown lead? And then that's going to maybe force Michigan to throw a little bit more than what they wanted. And then Washington elects to, now we're in control of the clock. They can go on long, sustained drives, by the way, where they get the running game involved. I've seen it up close and personal twice this year against Oregon. Dylan Johnson is +9. Now, I know he got banged up. They say he's good to go. He's +950 tonight, most rushing yards in the game.
I still think if they would still be committed to the run, but that's I'm not saying lay $5 with Corum.
Yeah, that's the thing. Corum's
crazy.
-$5.
Yeah. Is there a scenario Washington wins and Penix isn't the MVP?
Oh, man, that's a tough one to wrap my head around.
His prop is, what is he? He's 300 yards.
Yeah.
His over-under's 300 yards.
Well, it's not going to be a receiver, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be like Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Like Odunze could have 9 for 115 and 3 touchdowns, but I still think under that scenario, I mean, unless that's the only stuff that Penix does in the air, which won't happen, they would look at Odunze, but they always look at the quarterback. Almost always, I should say.
All right, fingers crossed. We had 2 great semifinals. We always have a blowout.
Yeah.
Let's make up for last year and let's get a competitive game.
What do you want to happen? What do you think happens, though?
I want Washington to win, to be typical for Pac-12, to win the damn thing, and then it implodes and it's over. This is a conference game, rematch October 5th. But I think Michigan wins by 10.
Yeah. Pretty much the same scenario for me. I want Washington to win. Having watched them play twice this year, going up there, have a bunch of friends in Seattle. And again, I'm Big Ten guy. I don't root for other teams. So I don't want Michigan to win at all tonight.
Well, you're right. And I also know the injuries and
but
what's
I think
happened.
They will.
Okay. But it was nonstop during the Texas win, and rightfully so. If this kid goes out tonight and lights up Michigan and puts the NFL, it's going to go crazy then. Then you're going to be top 5. He's got to. He's going to go
the reaction tomorrow could be off the.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If he lights it up and they win the game,
yeah.
Because now people are saying it's going to go 1, 2, 3 with quarterbacks on the draft now.
Well,
how it fell.
Because today is Black Monday, you're going to hear. I mean, and the potential coaches that might get fired. Who knows how many we're going to get today? But the one report and how many different the rumors and the speculation that gets thrown out there. The one thing that I saw this weekend is that Harbaugh. The interest there out here in Las Vegas to come to the Raiders would mean that he would want the team to draft J.J. McCarthy. But again, it's a rumor. Who knows? I mean, this guy never says anything. How would that get out there?
Yeah.
How would he get that detailed to anybody? Would he even tell his wife that?
He has some good quotes, though, if you get him going. I loved his line over the weekend. The players need more money. We're all robbing the same train here.
Well, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But the other stuff, though, too, it's... the hay in the bar. I mean, every single time with this.
I like what he does after games. He'll say one thing and then talk to my players. Yep. I'm leaving.
Okay, so here's what happened in the NFL again this year, making it 19 out of the last 21 seasons. Any guesses? We had a team go from worst to first.
Unbelievable.
It happened again. Houston did it. They pulled it off.
That's amazing.
They had to have all that go their way on Saturday night. They had to have the Colts. I don't dare I say blow the game? I don't know what you want to call it, but they just lost their minds.
Yeah, it was bad at the end, but I also thought Houston should have had a comfortable lead. That's 14-3.
Yeah, okay.
Ryan should be coach of the year, but 4th and 1, just get up there and go push, tush.
Yeah.
Right? He punted 4th and 2 from midfield. There's a couple questionable moves by Ryans, but that was no doubt Steichen. Some bad moves at the end there, including the timeout.
And so that also tied into Jacksonville losing the game outright yesterday to Tennessee. And, oh, by the way, like Derrick Henry was addressing the the crowd afterwards. You had that. Tannehill last game in Vrabel, who knows?
I think Vrabel's gone.
You knew Tennessee. That's why they took money the entire week. Came all the way down to 3.5.
I was still a little surprised, though. I know. I wasn't sold on that. They were pathetic against Houston. Couldn't move the ball. Couldn't protect a quarterback. And they've had a ton of issues the last couple of games getting Henry going, even to get 50 yards. But the Jacksonville defense was the perfect remedy for what ailed them, and that was a joke.
So you think Vrabel leaves to take another job? Obviously,
I think they'll mutually agree to go their separate ways. It was a bad year in Tennessee.
Would you want Mike Vrabel as your coach?
Yeah, I would. Yes, I would.
I 100% would.
And I would take New England. I think should hire him. I think that'll happen. I can't. I'm not so much that Houston made the playoffs, but 19 of the 21 years.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's odd. It's
right?
nuts.
We also had this happen. We had first to worst, Cincinnati. And then it depends
with
on
a winning record too.
Yeah. Think about that for a second. So that streak continues. First to worst happened again this year. Also, the Vikings tied Chicago at 7-10, so I don't know how the tiebreakers would work. I don't really care. They technically went from first to worst as well. They won it last year at 13 wins overall, and now this year they won 7. And everybody who was on that win total under, you got rewarded.
Yeah.
And I
think a couple guys, now Browning after the game says, I'm one of the top 32 quarterbacks. I deserve a chance to start. Well, I'm not going to argue with him.
No, neither am I.
And the other thing is...
I saw his girlfriend, by the way, a little bit earlier. Yeah. You're definitely onto something there.
Yeah, the outfit was planned. Good job.
Yeah.
Heady play. And I'm not... a backup role? I think Nick Mullins needs it. The guy threw for 400 yards again. If he doesn't turn the ball over... I mean, how about he throws a nice long ball? I mean, he hits it, and it's easy. I know it's Jefferson and Addison, but come on. Well, they didn't look like that at all with Dobbs.
I know. What does that tell you about the Lions' defense overall?
Oh, yes. No doubt.
So Stafford.
Oh, mama. Guys are wide open.
They got Nakua the record. Get him out. Cup's going to come to town now. That offense, the way it was humming. Williams had a fantastic year at running back. All the numbers, when those 4 guys are on the field at the same time, they're elite. Basically, the EPA is off the charts, best in the NFL. And Campbell gets the game plan for that.
Yeah, McVay will have something ready for him, no doubt.
Aaron Glenn.
That's
good luck stopping him.
I don't see how that stays under either. That just should be an aerial circus on Sunday night. How about Art Smith going 7-10, 7-10, and 7-10? Horrible offense. They lost 4 of their final 5. They score 2 touchdowns right away, and then score 3 the rest of the game.
Oh, yeah.
He was let go at midnight. Blank changed his mind. It was the right decision. And then yelling at Dennis Allen after the game. And was one away for him to go out with the 48-17.
Getting Williams a touchdown there.
Yeah.
No, I think Jake Browning should be a starter in this league, probably. I mean, how many, again, when you look at the draft order, we have the top 10. When you look at this bad boy overall, how many teams need a quarterback in the draft? You can go at least 5 in the top 10. Now, will they take a quarterback that high? Who knows? But certainly, I mean, it's going to come down to what the Bears want to do. Either they're taking a quarterback or they're going to trade out so a team can take a quarterback number 1.
You can't go back with Fields. Yesterday was a perfect example of why you have to move on from Fields.
So Commanders need a quarterback.
Yep.
Patriots have to take a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming the Cardinals keep Kyler Murray.
They will.
So they won't need one.
Yep.
Chargers, no, they're okay. Giants need a quarterback. Titans need a quarterback. Falcons need a quarterback.
Oh, the Titans are going Levis.
I guess. I stand corrected. I stand corrected on that. Falcons definitely need a quarterback.
Yep.
And then you have the Bears picking again at number 9 and the Jets picking at number 10 overall. Well, they're not going to go quarterback. They're going to assume that Rodgers is going to come back and be healthy next year. But that's at least 4 teams in top 10 that needs one.
They will have a serviceable backup this time around, though.
They're going to have to.
Zach Wilson has played his final game with the Jets.
That's correct, yes. So then, like, what does the top 3 to top 5 to top 10 look like? I'm seeing more and more chatter about Daniels going top 3 now. Like, we're going to go quarterback, and maybe Daniels supersedes Drake May in the draft and goes number 2 overall. And then Penix, I think you're right, Paul. If Penix blows up tonight, goes for like 350, 3 touchdowns, they win the game. Who knows what that's going to do for him? Although, again, injury history and his age. And then I don't get the J.J. McCarthy stuff, but people have him as a first-round pick, maybe going top 10 anyway.
And I agree with you. The other thing is that opens a door for Arizona to take Marvin Harrison. That to be a great fit.
So
or the Bears could try to get him and maneuver, trade down, whatever, because you're going to get a haul for that number 1 pick if you want to.
If they traded out at number 1 to not take Caleb Williams, and it was to like Washington, let's say, at number 2, if you don't trade back out of it, would you go quarterback or would you go Marvin Harrison? The Cardinals are really going to do this. This is the way they approach the season, and they might land Harrison anyway in the draft.
Yeah.
Which would be remarkable. Michael Lombardi is going to join the program coming up next.
Absolutely.
We'll get his early thoughts on the wild card numbers coming up next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.